Sometimes life hands us some harsh lessons, but it's those things that will make us more successful. Dr. Nick joins us with more. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Whitney. Hate to use the word harsh, but because it's not that you're going to suffer from the lessons, but they are necessarily lessons.
Yes.
So let's start talking about it.
Okay, you tell me that the first step is always the hardest.
The first step to change and to success is always the hardest, because it's the risk. You're literally taking a leap out of a window because you don't see what's ahead of you.
Yes.
But the first step is the hardest. When my niece decided to go to New York at 22, the first step was getting on the plane, packing and getting on the plane and saying, I'm going.
Yes. But those people who take those kind of risks are typically more successful and more gratified in life, right?
They are, because what is the downside to wanting to be successful is that you must accept you're going to fail. She has not, I'm just using her as an example.
Sure,
she hasn't found a job yet. And the first nanny job that she had didn't come through, but the fourth one did. So the failure becomes, as we've talked about in what he says, it's feedback. It's feedback. Failure is always feedback, because it's not necessarily that it's failure, it's a no, it's a door has closed, but there's going to be one that opens.
Yes.
You see how you're almost living in a world of mystery. It's a faith statement to say, I don't care if I fail. I'm going to, you know, we talked about your show and my band and my practice. Those are leaps that we take, and we learn so much from them.
Right.
And we're not too caught up, remember, in the past, anxiety of regret or the angst of the future.
Because they say regret is the biggest obstacle in success, right?
Yes.
And failure.
Yes. Well, we look at what we failed at and say, oh, I've failed so many times, or I've done, and it's like we don't count the successes.
Yes. And another harsh lesson is that things take time.
Things take time.
I love what Malcolm Gladwell
says
in his book, 10,000 Hours of intense focus to be excellent at something.
Yes. And the key is the focus. The key is the focus. You can't have 1,000 things going and be successful at one. I mean, we talk a lot about, you know, being able to do several things at once. I still struggle with that.
I do too.
I like focus. I want to focus on this project and get this done, or see where this takes me. It takes time and it takes effort. But you know, there's another harsh lesson that I think comes together too, Whitney. When we combine the powers of the world. My sister Angela has just hit 5 years of recovery from breast cancer. And the first thing that came to my mind was, wow, what a combination of medical science, her faith, which is the faith in something bigger.
That's right.
Her determination, the health care. Do you see how it all kind of comes together to also create success?
I do.
You've got to kind of trust that people, which is why one of the lessons is to surround yourself with the right people.
Yes.
And that's not a judgment on necessarily wrong people. It's just, who's going to energize me? Who feeds me? Where do I get challenged?
Yes, where do I get great ideas?
Where am I stretched? Great ideas.
Where am I encouraged? Right, all of those things.
Yeah, and I again, without being judgmental, it's good to be with open-minded people that are willing to take a look at a different perspective or a different way, or asking myself, what is it that's holding me back from accepting this person or this position or this way of relating to someone?
You also said, don't mistake being busy for being productive.
I love that, because we can all get very busy.
Yes.
In fact, I don't even like to say to people I've been busy, because busy.
Everyone's busy.
Because it's like busy is, what's busy? Because it's so much of it's mental. But am I being productive? And if I'm not being productive, then what's wrong with saying I'm being unproductive? I'm doing nothing. I love to say to people, I'm doing nothing today, and I love it.
You embrace that better than anyone I know.
I love doing nothing. And people will say, well, what does that mean? It's like it's the recess, it's the break that I need in order to get back in the ring to be creative and risk-taking.
Yes.
And comfortable. We're not ever-ready batteries that go, go, go. We need to do nothing.
Well, yes, we do. And it helps our mental health, which also comes to another point, which says that Our biggest problems are mental. And I think so many of us think it's physical limitations. I don't have enough energy, I don't have enough time. But so explain that to me, mental.
It's just that primitive emotion of fear. We'll think about what, again, didn't work, and we're fearful that it won't, and then we can fall into the trap of, well, what will people think if I don't? And let's be honest, Whitney, there may be some forces out there, principalities and powers, that may be working against someone who's taking the risk. So what?
Yeah.
Huh?
Right.
So what? We've just got one shot at this life.
That's right.
You know, let's go for it. And I mean, I just love it when people say, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm like, I'm all behind you.
Yes.
I'm all behind you. And there's another thing that comes real quick that we don't talk. It always pays forward. Oh. I helped 2 or 3 people move to New York. Do you know what those 2 or 3 people are doing right now?
Tell me.
Helping my niece.
Nice. Not why you do it, but it's nice.
Not why I do it. Not why I do it, but it
often.
comes full circle. It comes full circle. That's surrounding, trusting. You know that things are going to work out. There are always going to be people out there to help you. There are angels everywhere in this world. See, that's when you start getting motivated.
Yes.
You start getting motivated. I know we talk about it a lot, but your show is just such a perfect example.
Thank you.
It took you what? How many years to take the leap?
25.
But again, we don't want to say that's regret either.
No, not at all. It came at the right time.
Well, because you put the time in.
Yeah, you're right.
You put the time in.
And if I'd done this initially, I would have never had those other experiences that I really enjoyed too.
And the expertise always shows that you've been doing it for a while, so it's clear. You do things, and I'm like, I don't get that, and you said it takes too long to explain it. You know, but you've got it. It's wonderful to have harsh lessons and yet know that that's the creating. And remember, success is not necessarily defined by money. It's defined by what I've done for the world, how I've made an impression. Am I being fulfilled? Is it fruitful? Is it going forward?
How do I feel about myself? Because self-confidence has to be a component.
It has to be, and that's one of the things I struggle with real quick. I'll get so many people to say, thank you for all the good you do for the world. And I always sit back and like, what did I do? See, and that's a lack of confidence on my part that there is good energy out there.
That is, you and I both
know, and you see that when people carry on about you. You're like, wow, I just am being myself. Well, that's...
Yeah, well, let's talk about the lovely man who watches the show, he and his wife, and sent us both a book of his.
Sent a book with a beautiful letter
it was
saying,
the letter
we look so forward to your show on Sunday. It really did touch me. Because we have that kind of voice that says, well, what, I don't think it was that great. And then people say it really made a difference in my life.
Yes, yes. So we thank him.
And hello, we're not going to mention the name, but hello to you. You know who you are out there.
That's
and
right.
I've enjoed your book. Great to see you.
You too.
Everybody enjoy the lessons of life and keep moving. Take the risk. Today may be the day.
That's right. It absolutely
Today may be the day.
We will be back with more Weekends with Whitney on this day, right after this.